What's going on, guys? This is Skyhound, also known as Xavier Pierce, Geek Archivist. Well, the trailer for the sequel to Mortal Kombat 2 already dropped, and I'll be blunt, I never bothered playing the later games and iterations because I am a 90s kid. However, were some, let me say it again, were some of the previous iterations on Mortal Kombat, for those who have played it, better than what came after? Up to a certain point. So, with that being said, this leads to the obvious question: where did the game start the fallout? Where did it go wrong? Feel free to put it in the comments down below. You guys know it a little bit better than me, but the main point is this. The first one that they did, decent story, but not accurate. Did it focus a bit more on the visuals and spectacle? Yes, it did. Were there nods to the game itself? A little bit. In terms of how it appeared in the game. So, brief review summary. Focus on spectacle and visuals, less on story. More focused on certain characters, particularly Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Now, there are gamers who know more about the lore than me, but I will say this. Some of the animated films do, to an extent, cover bits of the lore. Do they do it as well as the films? Depends on who you ask. Let me be clear here. Now, are some of the films, the animated films, pretty good? Yeah, I've watched a few. But with that being said, let's get straight into the main focus of this video, shall we? Okay, guys, so to be clear, I'm just going to be watching it, but you will likely be hearing the audio from the trailer itself. And then I will be addressing one of the most obvious parts regarding, you know, the creative choices on this film. So, again, you'll just hear the audio. I am going to be watching it, but I'm not going to be sharing the screen. Let me be clear here. There's Carl Urban, a nice reference there. He's not wrong there.
It's called Mortal Kombat. It's a fighting tournament. To the death. Fuck that. This is a war for the fate of your world. You think they did or what?
Of course, they'd bring him back.
I'm not some champion. I don't have transformer arms. Or shoot lightning nothing to do with me. I'm an actor. I find you annoying. Not the face.
Hmm.
It's time to become the hero you were meant to be. Alright, you big ugly fuck. It's showtime.
Okay, not bad on visuals. Okay, there's a Noob Saibot reference.
Only strong survive. Are you shitting me? You don't have any brows? Just incredibly handsome.
Okay, so you guys were kind of hearing the whole thing. I did kind of give a little bit of, in bit of commentary. But with that being said, visuals, they try to keep it accurate in terms of the lore and what it's about. But let me be 120% clear here. The design, most of it is straight from the later iterations of the games. Later, not previous. But there's the obvious question: why did they not focus on the story in the first one? That is one of the main questions here. Now, let's get straight into at least particular points that I found in this trailer, shall we? I'm not going to be playing it again, but I will just point out there are some bits that I did find. Okay, now let's get straight into the parts that I like as well as dislike with regards to this. But I want to be 120% clear. This is more on the later iterations of Mortal Kombat, ladies and gentlemen. Not what happened before. But I will have to address design, character design, because I've been there, people. I've played the games to a certain extent. I am a 90s kid. I have played 1 and 2 of the OGs. The OGs, not the later shit. Excuse me for cursing, but I will be venting my frustration about this as well. Now, Carl Urban, he did pretty good in the Doom film. For those of you guys who have watched that one, that is with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, based on the video game of the same IP title. Carl Urban was also Éomer in Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, and Return of the King. I've watched all three. I liked his performance in that. In addition, did I find the film Thor Ragnarok okay, even though it was super corny? Yes, he was in the film. You get the picture. Do I think he makes a decent Johnny Cage? Yeah. Now, when Raiden is trying to explain things, Johnny's like, are you guys like for real? And when he gets brought into, this other realm, let me be clear. Sonya Blade is explaining the whole thing. And then, it shows him getting in a fight with Katana, and you see bits of her ability, the spinning fan, and all of that. Now, do I like the design of Katana? Yeah, I have no problem with that. But again, I haven't bothered playing some of the other games because I'm not much of a fighter type of, gamer, so to speak. Now, there is some additional bits that I have to address here. Give me one moment. It's right around here. So, as you can sort of see right here, again, this is in reference to the old games, design wise. So, I will say kudos to them on making, it as accurate as they can. Because you also saw that with one of the stages that was in the first film. Again, they're going by spectacle and to an extent design. Are they referencing some of the old games? A little bit. Not entirely. But I gotta be blunt here, people. Generation disconnect is a real thing. A disconnect among generations, if you want to put it that way. But you get the point. Are they trying to be as accurate as they can? Yeah, a little. But give me one second, right around here. Yeah, Kano got beat up right here. There's their OC character that they brought back. He's still alive, obviously. How they're gonna explain how the freaking hell Kano came back again for plot? Wouldn't be surprised how they're gonna try to explain that shit. So yeah, the guy who assumes that he wasn't back, that OC character, he's back. But this one right here, I'm gonna be blunt. Hate it. Fucking hate the design. But considering this is more of a choice by the dumb actress, I gotta point out who in blazing hell did they fucking hire for scouting and then making the decision to bring her into it? Really? Really? I don't care what flack I get on this. Again, I've played first two OG games back in the 90s. You really want to try to prove to me that you were alive during the 90s? You better know the design. You better know it. Because the more you push this shit, I already concluded you weren't alive at all when the 90s came about. So if you're from the 2010s onward, you're a liar. Period. I don't care who I annoy. I don't care if your feelings are hurt. You never lived a life, pal. That is the truth. I hate the design. Now, besides that, you got one that I don't know exactly if that is Baraka, but at least with this one, they got the design of his species correct. Do I think it's better than what we saw in the sequel, which is Mortal Kombat Annihilation? Eh, depends on who you ask. But detail wise, I still kind of like it. Is it as good as the original, even though it's more simplistic? I don't know. Depends on who you ask. But from my observation, I kind of like it. Now, there's another bit here. Again, right around here. So, yep, right here. Sindel's confirmed. She's in it. And then you see this bit. So Sonya Blade is fighting against her. Most of us know who played Mortal Kombat. Sindel is the mother of Kitana. I'm just saying that's the official lore, people. Now, in terms of what's his name, Shao Kahn. Looking at it right here, I like the design. It's simplistic, and in comparison to what we see from Annihilation, this one, I will be honest, it's more accurate. Now, when you hear him go finish him, when I was listening to that, as you guys obviously can tell, I liked it. So whoever they chose for this one, good on them. That's good. I like that. And then there's one more bit I'm gonna show right here, and it's obviously has to do with Noob Saibot. So Scorpion gets him with his hooks. Then they obviously add the line, pulls him out, and then we see the shadow. So we know Noob Saibot is going to be a part of this. But there is something interesting that I do recall. Give me a few seconds before I get to it. So, what I faintly recall when I was watching one of the animated films, at least that's what I'm certain is the case in terms of the lore, is that it is in reference to, I don't know if I would say Sub Zero, but, you know, it's supposedly a clone of, you know, his people, the Lin Kuei. So Noob Saibot is arguably like from there, at least in terms of how the lore goes. Now, if I'm wrong about that, feel free to say it in the comments down below. But overall, visually, it looks good. Again, my gripe with Jade, I know I'm not the only person here. Because in terms of characters that were color, the ones that I know, I'm a 90s kid. If you guys noticed, I've gone over Power Rangers, but here are the ones that I knew as a 90s kid. Aurora Monroe, Storm, that's one. Aisha, who is the second. Mighty Morphin, Yellow Ranger. Then we got Jade from Mortal Kombat. Those three. Besides that, again with the lore, Jade is a friend of Kitana. Melina is a clone, an evil clone with, part of, Baraka's species in her through experimentation done by Shao Kahn. At least that's how the lore goes. But overall, do I think this is going to do well? Likely. Now, in terms of what happens later, will the OC character survive? Probably not. Probably will. But if Johnny Cage is going to take his place, at least try to make it good and reasonable in terms of the story itself. But overall, I think this might do well since it's coming out in October, which is in a few months. I'm curious to see where this is going to go. But anyway, that's just my general thoughts regarding the trailer as well as my gripes. Hope you guys enjoyed this. This has been Skyhound, also known as Xavier Pierce. Are you guys going to be watching this film when it does drop? Feel free to leave in the comments down below. Stay safe, stay sane, and as a good friend of mine always says, stay humble. Peace.